Today is the launch of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. No, not that Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2 2022. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of confusing, but we'll just call it Modern Warfare 2. Of course, we can't have a year of Call of Duty without some issues. Just today, it has been revealed that if you buy a physical copy of Modern Warfare 2, you are effectively getting absolutely nothing on the disc. The only thing that's on the disc is a tiny 72 megabytes worth of data, which all it's doing is giving you a key to download the game. There is absolutely no benefit to getting a physical copy, and at this point you're better off downloading it digitally. If your order is being processed, then I would suggest not wasting your time waiting for it to ship and just cancel it. No point of waiting when you can just download it through the store. Yeah, it's pretty dumb, but honestly, it doesn't surprise me a company like Activision is doing something like this. Now look, I get that most people download their games digitally or through a subscription like Game Pass. I even made a video last time talking about the pros and cons of digital versus physical games, in which I mentioned that with physical copies, it is yours to own. You can do whatever you want with it. You can trade it, sell it, or let a friend borrow. Though cases like this where publishers do a physical release but shipping a disc with barely any content is very rare, and I think this is the first time I've seen a company doing something like this. Usually, while I still think it's bad, the common practice that some companies do is include a partially incomplete build of the game, and for you to play the game, it has to download the rest online. I miss the days where you put the disc in and expect it to play. Today you have to deal with the installation process, which can take ages on previous gen, then it has to download a day one update, or sometimes it needs to download additional content because the content isn't on the disc. The list goes on and on. Like I remember back in the 7th generation consoles, installing the game is optional. On some games you are required to install, but most of the time you don't. I understand why it became mandatory in the 8th generation consoles as games are becoming larger and complex. Optical drives tend to be slower compared to a hard drive. Of course, today with consoles having SSDs, this is no longer an issue. But still, it's no excuse to not include the base game on the disc. If the argument that they are concerned about the limitations of the Blu-ray capacity, then why not just have a second disc? I'm sure Activision can easily afford this. At least by doing this, the game content will be included in the installation. Then you can jump in the game without the need to connect online. If you wanted more content or want to play online multiplayer, then just connect online. That's it, plain and simple. At least the game will still run even if you don't have the latest patch. Games back then, even the old COD games from the 7th gen, you can still play the game offline or without downloading the update. The base game is already on the disc, there's no need to download anything. Of course, you can't play online, but you can still play the campaign or zombies or split screen multiplayer. But with Modern Warfare 2, you can't. You are forced to download the entire game before you can do any of that. Like, is it that hard for the developers to at least provide the campaign and whichever offline game mode on the disc? Because I know not everyone plays the multiplayer. It's not like the campaign requires an online connection all the time. For me, I simply don't care about COD multiplayer, but I would like to be able to play the campaign, just without having to deal with a 100GB download. Like, what if you don't have good internet connection, or you have an internet connection with a data cap? Does that mean you can't play offline content on your console? What if I just want to play the campaign and not multiplayer? Then I'm forced to download a 100GB game from the store? You cannot be serious. Not everyone is privileged to have the best internet. I have a 300 megabits per second fiber internet, and downloading Modern Warfare 2 will probably take me 45 minutes at most. But not everyone has this. In some cases, it might take an entire day to download the game. Or those that have data caps, 100GB will easily eat up your data for the month. As a PC gamer, digital download is practically standard here, but the thing with consoles is that they still have the benefit of a physical disc where you actually own it. Not like digital where it's just a license and can always be removed at any time. But now it seems like companies like Activision has found a way to make it so you don't actually own that physical item that you bought, even though it's in your possession. And like I said about digital games in the last video, once the servers go offline, those are gone forever. If 20 years from now where the online services shut down for the PS5 or Series X, then you have no other way of playing this game since it requires internet to download the full game. Not just that, but it's also environmental waste. The fact that they spent money to print the disc, manufacture the plastic case, printed the disc cover, then on top of that having to ship the disc worldwide, only to have little to no content on it. On top of that, selling it for the price of $70? What exactly is the point of manufacturing this if that's all you're going to include? It really feels like you are getting scammed here. I think I've made my point so far and I don't want to drag it any longer than this. I'm sure by the time you watch this video, you're probably enjoying Modern Warfare 2. To sum it up, just buy the digital edition on the store and don't waste your time buying it physically. At the same time, Activision should be at least held accountable for this, but I don't expect any good outcome from that. People will continue to buy COD games and that's all that matters to these corporations, never mind the user experience. I also don't like when I see people defending this kind of practice and be okay with it. It's no wonder why the gaming industry is in a state of broken releases, DRM, incomplete games, and many other anti-consumer practices, but that's a rant for another day. What are your thoughts? Post them in the comments. Thank you for watching, I hope you learned something, and as always, see you in the next one. Bye for now.